Internationally, governments are changing the shape of their public sectors. In the UK, there are three outcomes that are important to this paper. First, large and increasing amounts of public expenditure are being spent outside the direct control of the state, although responsibility for services stays with the state. Second, the role of the public sector is transformed from a provider of public services to a procurer and regulator. Third, unlike other countries that follow international public sector accounting standards, the UK public sector actually uses private sector standards. Our concern is that a private sector framework designed to meet the needs of shareholders may not deliver information that is suitable for public accountability, with the consequence that the public may not be able to hold government to account. In this context, the purpose of our paper is to examine empirically whether the system of public reporting delivers accountability in practice. We take a case study approach, focusing on the road sector during the operational phase of PPP projects. We analyse financial statements both from public and private sector partners. We find that public sector reporting using this private sector framework provides very limited information. The paper has lots of detail, but to give you just one example, it's very difficult to understand the extent to which and why actual costs are greater than those anticipated at financial close. Ironically, because the opacity of the public sector accounts, we need to use private companies' accounts in our study. Although private company reporting is limited, we were able to estimate the additional costs of using private finance over public sector borrowing. Again, the paper has many details, but to give some measure of the impacts of private finance on costs to the taxpayer, again, let me give you just one example. Across the 8 roads that we examined, construction costs had already been covered by the annual payments in just 3 years. We conclude that there is a lack of consistent, comparable and understandable financial information about these PPP projects, particularly from the perspective of the taxpayer and the citizen. We believe our findings are important because we have found difficulties in a sector where there are large and publicly visible projects. Other sectors have much smaller projects which are inevitably less visible. Also, where the UK has led, many other countries have followed in terms of public-private partnerships.